Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be going over how to draw dynamic kicks. We got a reference here from Pinterest. I'm not going to bore you guys with too much of an intro. Let's just get right into it. So I got this reference from Pinterest and it's a guy, he's doing I would say a pretty dynamic looking kick. There's a lot going on here. So I'm just going to break it down for you guys on my thought process and just how I go about drawing things like this. So first thing I'll do is find my shapes. You guys are going to hear me say this a lot. Just find the shapes within the pose. That's going to be your best bet when drawing anything that has any foreshortening or any kind of dynamic poses. You want to get the shape down first. So we have the head, the torso, and the pelvis region here. And you can see I just used some simple circles just to get a basic structure here. And you can say there's a line of action here. The line of action, it just goes straight through here. So you can kind of get the flow of what's going on here. And you can throw some gesture here so you can see where the legs are headed. And you hear a lot of people say, well, I can only draw stick figures. Sometimes that's really all you need to get started. See, with the stick figure right here, we've basically set up our structure for this guy here in his very dynamic kick. And got a hand right over here. Right over here. Alright guys. So basically what I've done here is I've captured the flow of this drawing. This isn't the finished product by no means, but if you can find the flow, you're already halfway there to creating the finished product of your dynamic pose. One thing I do want you to pay attention to is this leg right here. This leg, we're going to add the illusion that there is a lot of weight on this leg here because this is the balance leg. Notice how it's right under the torso. You don't want that leg to be over here when you're throwing your kick because he's basically falling over. Someone, if they were super flexible, they could have this leg all the way out here, but that's a very drastic kick there. That's very dynamic. So if we're just going for simple dynamics, just a very athletic kind of kick, this is the gesture that I would go for just based off of the reference that we're using. So from here, we're actually going to add form on top of this gesture drawing here. So let's do that. I'm going to erase this gesture that I have here, and we're going to add some shapes on top of this gesture. Alright, so let's add some shapes here. Shapes are going to be your best friend when you're drawing people. Because if you can find the shapes within a structure, then you're off to a really good start to finishing the rest of your drawing there. So let's start with this leg here, since this is the one that you kind of see first. So what I'll do is I'm just finding the shapes, and for legs and arms, for the main muscle masses like the quadriceps, the calves, what I do is I use cylinders. Cylinders for the main muscle groups, and then circles or spheres for the joints. So we have a circle there for the knee joint, and then we're gonna have this calf come across here. And yes, this is called a calf, not like a cow, like a baby cow. Just in case you guys aren't too familiar with your anatomy. And we're just going to draw the foot right over here. Right. So with this leg being so close to us, it will appear closer. You'll see exactly what I mean when we draw this other leg here. This other leg, since it is farther away, kind of the background here, it will be smaller or appear smaller. In reality, they're the same size, but to show depth and spacing, we will draw this leg smaller, just to signify that it is farther away. Right? And this foot is actually faced more that way, so that way he has supreme leverage here and very good balance in his kick. Alright, and we'll just follow through with our shapes here. You know, you have the pelvis, we can just connect all this stuff. We have the torso, and like I said, for the major muscle groups like the arms, the legs, I like to use cylinders because it really signifies what that muscle group actually looks like. You know, if you look at your arm right now, it's more of a round structure than anything else, or more of a cylinder-like structure, I should say. So we'll draw a cylinder for that forearm there, and a circle or a sphere for that elbow, and the torso. Gonna go across just like this here. We're just catching the form of this body. For the shoulder, we'll do a little mini circle here just to signify the joints. So circles for the joints and cylinders for the major muscle groups. And we'll have that hand just kind of right through there. And actually what you can do, seeing what I've drawn here, I do want to make this leg a little bit longer, so that's what I'll do. Alright, now that we've made that leg longer, I think the proportions look a lot better. There we go. And we're just adding in the basic shapes here, not to get too crazy. We can draw a center line right here just to show how the body is turning. Alright, so now we have our shapes that make up our structure. We have a decent balance here in place for the leg. Looks very sturdy. Doesn't look like he's going to fall anytime soon. So from here we have our shapes. Now we can go into anatomy, and we'll see how that plays out while using these shapes. Alright, from here we're going to do some really light anatomy. Not to make him super muscular, he's not, you know, the Hulk or anything. But just some basic anatomy, so that way we can see what we're working with these structures here that we've created with those shapes. And they're really just there to simplify all of this. A lot of people try to jump right into drawing muscles. I feel like it causes a lot of confusion because you might not have studied anatomy. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you haven't studied anatomy, I would absolutely add that to the list of things to study for sure. It does help you when you're drawing these things here. But you know, it's very light anatomy. Just adding a little bit of muscle definition here. But as you can see, those shapes have set up a very good guideline for us to follow here. And of course you can follow along with reference and just see how things are shaping up. Right. And let's just draw a pants line right there. And yeah, like I said, we're not going to go too much into detail. We can save these anatomy lessons for another video. But what I do want you to see is how those shapes have created structure for those muscles to be. That is the main thing I want you guys to notice here. Right. We'll just draw in some shorts here. Right. So yeah, like I said, we're not gonna get super defined here, but just so you can see just how these shapes can create form. So we went from stick figures to shapes to now basically a full-blown person. In just a little bit of time here, a little bit of time that we've spent together. And oh, voila, now we have a person here, right? So now that we have this, if you wanted to, you could go through and, you know, if you wanted to follow the reference, we can erase this. And I only erased that because I want it to be, you know, just a little more accurate with what the reference is shown here. But this is basically it, guys. You want to find your gesture. You want to catch the flow of your reference or your drawing. You want to understand the flow of how that body is moving with your reference lines, or excuse me, your gesture lines. And then you can add shape. And then with shape, you can add anatomy. And if you so want to, from that anatomy, you can cover that anatomy with clothes, which is what I'm doing right now. And I'm not gonna get super detailed with it, but I did just wanna show you guys, like, let's say you did wanna copy the reference bar for bar here, or at least semi bar for bar. I'm not too worried about the shoes here. But you know what? Let's give him some shoes. Why not? Give him a little bit of shoe here. You know, ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of shoe game. A little bit of shoe game makes the world go round. Just give him some decent shoes here. Throwing some laces for good measure. Alright. Fun fact, I actually used to resell sneakers back in my my high school days when I was a young chap. Yeah, that's how I made my coin, reselling sneakers. Alright. And now I'm a content creator, so life is made a beautiful turnaround for me. All right, so we have our reference here. And we've situated our drawing to look quite nice, I believe. Yeah, let's just catch those seams there. Just the seam of his pants. Alright, and sure, give us some shoe game on this foot as well. Would it make sense to have shoe game on one foot and not the other? Can't see too much of that shoe, so we'll just do like that. And just erase that a little bit. Alright. Give him a little bit of shadow here. Just some horizontal lines, nothing too crazy. Just want to show that he is on a surface. a flat surface. Right. Doesn't have to be nothing too crazy. And if you wanted to, you could even add in some speed lines just to show that that leg is really moving very quickly. Add some speed lines in the front. The speed lines are just a great way to indicate that something is traveling very fast. You can add some on the hands as well. You can see that that leg is really just traveling very fast. All right, and there we have it. This is how I would go about drawing a dynamic kicking pose. Now, if you want to learn more about how to draw, feel free to join my school community. We have a lot of classes, courses, all for free for anyone that would like to join. The link will be in the description. If there's anything else that you guys would like to learn, be sure to leave it in the comments below. And I'll work on making those videos for you guys, you know. Anything at all, anything you guys have questions with, feel free to leave it in the comments, and I'll get to those comments as soon as I can, guys. But otherwise, hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy life, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.